Hello and welcome to the Pens and Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Cal G, and to my left is the coordinator extraordinaire, Mike Kent. The podcast is a place to come to if you want to hear about the art and news of video games, comics, and movies that week.
So if you like sass, you like crass, then better not give this podcast a pass.
Oh, wow, look at you go. He came back with a bang, people.
I did.
He thought of a catchphrase. Did you do that in Mexico?
I did.
Yeah?
I actually literally did. I was sitting there staring at the beach, and I was just like, what am I going to fucking say when I get back?
I need to have a good one, because I've been on vacation for a week.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm back from sunny Mexico. If you guys liked Geek Say more than my monotone voice, you can all screw off.
Well, I mean, also, this is like our first time in weeks recording together, because we had like a filler cast, and then I recorded with Geek Say, and then now, so it was probably 2 weeks. More like three. And then, so yeah, we're finally back together in the same room, fucking recording the Pens and Pixels podcast.
Yeah. So I'm back, ready to go.
Mike has returned, people.
Yes.
Mike.
No more shingles, no more anything.
No more Mexico.
Yeah.
No more fun.
Shingles fun.
Is there any Pens and Pixels housekeeping?
Not right now. We're kind of taking ourselves a little bit back, and we're just going to be working on some community stuff. So be sure to join us for our drink and draws and pay attention to the podcast. We're going to have some additional content coming out from the podcast very, very, very soon. We'll probably let you guys know what that is either next time or the week after. And you can look forward to all of that. And we're also going to be starting to provide some other online content and features just to help kind of reconnect the community a bit more. And then you can look forward to some exciting events coming up in the summer.
And with that, on to the Newsy News. That's what people come for.
Yeah.
Our takes. Our hot takes on perhaps week and a half old news at this point.
But this week we're going to be doing just a news segment. We're not going to be doing a second segment. You can look for the second segment, which is our review full of Horizon Zero Dawn. Our final full impressions of the complete game, which is spoilerific. So if you haven't finished the game or haven't played it at all yet, then it's probably not for you. So that's why it's in the second podcast for you. But if you are interested in our impressions of what we can easily say is one of our favorite games we've played ever, then you can go listen to that. It'll be out at the same time. But otherwise, you can take us through the news, Cal.
First up, we have some comic news, finally living up to our name. There's two big Batman stories that came out of some fucking fan expo that I kept seeing this first one all over the place. So I figured we'd have to cover it. I'm not actually up to date on the current Batman. I read a little bit when it first came out, and then I just kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
I read the Court of Owls run, which was really good. Actually, no, was that New 52 or is that Rebirth? That was New 52. So when they started New 52, which is a while ago at this point, I read the Court of Owls run, and it was very good. But other than that, I kind of dropped out.
Yeah.
But they seem to be really hyping up this War of Jokes and Riddles, which is, I guess, the Joker and Riddler teaming up and trying to take over Gotham.
Teaming up?
Yeah, I thought it was about them fighting, but it's about them fucking teaming up. It's just
going to be like them solving a riddle, and there's going to be like a punchline at the end.
Yeah, like it should be, right? It should be this grand design that Batman has to fight his way through, and then at the end, it's just like, why the chicken cross the road? And it's like just a little representation. It's like one long panel where it's just like he's fucking moving his head.
And there's just a Joker sitting behind a screen laughing, like he's the only one who gets the joke. Everyone else is just like, you fucking had him in chains.
We were gonna poison the water supply. We did all this thing. What the fuck is this? But he's just looking at a chicken. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah, like that would be great.
Or some giant grand scheme thing, and at the end it's just like Joker in a room, and he just has someone who just stabs him.
Just once, really slowly.
Once, really slowly.
Who is that? Who did you kill?
What's your name? Joe. It's Joe.
It's just Joe.
And like Batman's like, all right, that's pretty fucking funny.
All this for this? Yes. Okay, I'm going home.
Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah. Okay, so King revealed more about this upcoming story at his Fan Expo Dallas panel this past weekend. The War of Jokes and Riddles will be presented as a flashback story taking place after the events of Zero Year and roughly a year into Bruce Wayne's costume career. According to King, the two villains clashed during that period because neither wanted the other to rob them of the opportunity to defeat Batman. And now that unseen story will finally be told. Okay, so no, they did clash, I guess.
Oh, okay.
King revealed that Batman number 24 will serve as a prelude to the story, featuring a huge cliffhanger that leads directly into the event. From there, King and artist Michael Janin will chronicle the war in 3 acts, spanning Batman 25 26, 28, 29, 31, and 32. Sure, whatever. He confirmed that villains like Solomon Grundy, Killer Croc, Deadshot, and Deathstroke will play a role in the story as the Joker and Riddler gang war spills out across Gotham.
What the heck is a Riddler and Joker gang war gonna be?
Okay, so Joker, he has his like posse of fucking clowns, right? Like the Riddler has
insane clown posse.
Yes, he does. He has his insane clown posse. So Joker's got juggalos, and Riddler's got. What does Riddler have? He has a book club.
Robots.
Yeah, why does he always have robots?
Why is he? He's not supposed to be an engineer. He's just supposed to be a detective, but like he's just super smart and into riddles.
Yeah, like he's not building robots.
No,
unless their algorithm all has.
But
like,
he does always have robots and other things. But
that's the only thing that can make him threatening, I guess.
But that's the thing. Most of the time, Riddler's like, "You went into my trap of my room, Batman," and Batman's usually the one to go through. Like, do you think Joker is going to do that? He's just going to be like in the room and he'd be like, "All right, you wear a bomb and go to the door."
Yeah,
you know. And then they're going to be like, "But boss," and he's like, "You do it.
You're not following my riddle. Play along, Joker."
Yeah, and he's going to be like, "If you do this, then I will release Harley Quinn." And he's just like pushing the button over and over again to drop her. He's like, "It's not working.
Just let me out.
Clearly you're lying."
So that actually sounds kind of cool. But I'm curious to see like what that involves at all, right? And next up, they also revealed, we weren't going to cover this one until I saw it at the very bottom of this article. They also revealed the first details about Batman Metal, which is
interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So. After years of teases and hints, DC has finally revealed the event comic that will reunite the creative team behind the new 52 Batman series. And that's what I read. Like I said, the Court of Owls was them. It was great. Though The Dark Knight's Metal is a Batman-centric story, it will also feature the Justice League and cover the width and breadth of the DC universe. The series will follow Batman as he explores the secret history of Nth Metal, a rare substance from the planet Thanagar that powers heroes like Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and its impact on the course of the human history. I've been planning Metal for as long as I've been writing Batman, said Snyder in DC's press release, but this is bigger than Batman. Greg and I started dropping clues in Court of Owls, we continued through our Joker stories, and we placed our biggest hints in the run that culminated with Batman number 50. And now we're back to tell a story that breaks everything apart. This will be the definitive project of our careers. That's a pretty crazy claim. Because like Court of Owls was so good, it's like it's now revered as like one of the better Batman stories. You know, like I think that you guys already probably did it. But Metal takes place takes us in an entirely different direction. Greg and I will dig beneath the surface of all the stories we've told to find a place of terror and twisted nightmares.
I don't know. The thing is, so you take a look at this cover, and it looks like the cover of a heavy metal thing, and it's supposed to be, I get it, metal, Nth Metal, and he's holding the axes like Hawkwoman and Hawkman. I get that.
They're like bat axes.
Yeah. But, like, it feels like they're like, this is the new tone is rock and roll.
Yeah, well, this seems, I mean, this isn't the main Batman continuity, or unless it is, but, like, it seems like one of those like what if spin-off things, but with DC, I always find it so hard to tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like what is actually in that line?
Yeah.
I kind of just wanted like on that front of that page though, with like one of those old school like heavy metal axes, like or guitars, you know, that's an axe.
The word metal seems to describe the tone of the book as much as the plot, with the series striving to be for a more bombastic, over-the-top Batman adventure. I want Metal to be built upon the stories happening now in Rebirth and create a new material that feels really modern and different. And above all, it's going to be fun. Even with terror and nightmares, it won't be grim. Dark Knight's Metal will be celebratory, huge, and crazy. I've said it before. I'm going for out-of-control dinosaurs and lasers. And then there's
heavy metal.
Yeah. And there's another giant fucking picture of, I don't know, this is a pretty cool picture, actually. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, heavy metal. This is all, he's just basically, I think he just watched the heavy metal movies and he's like, I like that.
He finally just did it, now. Guys, do you know this existed? Everyone knows this.
Everyone knows it. They were huge.
Oh my god, can I write? I'm gonna go do something. And they're like, what is he fucking?
I'm gonna go like put Batman in heavy metal.
You can't just do that. Oh, he's already, why isn't it print?
He's like, he's got artists. What are they drawing?
This is happening too quick. That's it for the comic news. I actually am interested in, I might read Batman Metal because it seems separated. So if it's only like a 5 comic miniseries, I might actually read that one.
I'm not interested in that, but I'm interested in the riddle.
So all right, we're interested in opposite things. That's fine. So that's all for the comic news. Next up, movie news.
Our favorite guy.
Yeah, we got a great story this week. Schwarzenegger didn't like the new Predator script.
But most importantly,
Shane Black is directing this Predator movie, and I wonder if this displeases him.
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone doesn't know, Shane Black was actually in the first Predator movie. He was Dutch. So he knows Arnold, obviously. They worked together on that movie and probably other things. So Arnold didn't care for the script. In a recent interview with Yahoo to promote his latest release, Aftermath, didn't know that was happening, he had this to say about why we won't be seeing him back on screen when it comes to this year's Predator.
Well, just before that, do we care about Arnold Schwarzenegger's taste level? Because we know it's low. Like,
this is harsh.
If he doesn't like it, you're going to go, well, he obviously knows good art.
Okay. We'll comment on that after. They asked me, and I read it, and I didn't like it. Whatever they offered. So I'm not going to do that, no. Except that there's a chance that they rewrite it or make a more significant role. But the way it is now, no. I won't do that.
Oh, well, fuck him then. He's literally just saying that he didn't want to do it because of a fucking...
He says he doesn't like it, and then he's like, but if there's a bigger role...
He's just doing it. He's like, I don't like it because I'm not the star.
It makes me think back to the Predator's ending we never actually got. It was going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger coming off the Predator ship and saying some fucking one-liner. I wonder if they were going to try and do something like that, and it was this very small role where at the end he came back and he's like, I've seen some shit, and he was on the Predator planet or something. He's like their emperor, or whatever the hell happened.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah. He just quotes a different movie in this movie.
He picks up, what's the actor from that one?
Key and Peele?
No, the main actor from the Predators.
Oh, Adrian Brody.
Like he scoops up Adrian Brody in his arms, like
like lady style.
Lady style, cradles him, and then carries him into the ship. He's like, oh, Arnold.
You killed it good.
You do good.
So it doesn't say what Shane Black had a comment on this or not. I'm sure no director likes someone speaking out against their movie before anyone's seen it. But yeah, it just makes me wonder, like, what's going to be happening in this movie if there was the possibility of, like, the original character coming back, you know? But he's just been living a normal life.
But the thing is Arnold Schwarzenegger is looking his age, and, like, I don't know, would he come back and be all beefy? Stallone tried that, right? Like, he tried to come back all giant and beefy.
He's still a big dude, though. Even when he was in the newest Terminator movie, like, he's still pretty big, and he's an old robot.
He's a huge person.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. But, like, time's passed. We're good. Like, Arnold, we've had you, and we had a great time with you as Terminator. We had a great time with you as Predator. We've enjoyed your career. Just, like, do you need to be in this? Like, how about we let the franchise go somewhere new? Adrian Brody tried to take it off. People apparently didn't like it as much as we did.
Yeah.
And, let's we need to get the reins off from old people. So, like, Star Wars, they're all like, oh, where are all the old actors? They need to be in there. I enjoy having them in there, but they don't hold the reins anymore. They've killed off Han Solo. Unfortunately, we lost Princess Leia. I actually would prefer her to stay in because she was amazing. We still got Mark Hamill, but they're not holding the reins. They're passing them off to just new and fresh and exciting new people. It's the same thing with Predator. Like, if it's always going to revolve around the fact that in one Predator movie, there was Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he wasn't in the second one and he wasn't in the third one.
No.
So, like, he was only there once. Like, move on. Someone new.
Look, all I'm saying is if Shane Black kidnapped me, put me in a room, didn't tell me who he was, and all he had on a piece of paper, and he slides it towards me across this table, and said,
why is that always your scenario? Someone just going, shh, and sliding you a piece of paper.
It's the most dramatic. And it just says, Arnold with a question mark, and it says, yes, no, maybe. Like a check mark, like if you have a crush on someone. I would put yes. No matter what they were talking about. And Shane Black would take that, and he would go back and he'd offer him the script, and then he'd get pissed off that fucking Arnold said no. Yes.
And that Arnold isn't in the suburbs.
It doesn't make or break it for me that if he would be in it or not, because it sounded like it would be a small role anyways. Yeah. So it wouldn't really. I wouldn't really care. I understand what you're saying though, right? Fresh blood, new blood, young blood.
Also, because the Predator movies have never had any continuity in any way. Like in any other movie, like in Terminator, it's always been Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator. So obviously, you're going to keep having him in there because he was the reins of that entire franchise.
Yeah. Whereas, you're right.
Predator like never had the same characters in it. It was always a Predator somewhere else on the planet killing someone else, right? And the thing is that Arnold Schwarzenegger at 70 is not as much of a threat next to like the young guy who's military trained.
No, but you're not thinking outside the box. He doesn't necessarily have to be a threat.
Yes, he does. So predators don't fight things unless they have to consider it a worthy hunt.
Yeah. Again, he doesn't even have to be fighting.
You probably like scan him and see like he's got fucking like diabetes and be like, nope.
That poor creature.
Yeah.
No, Predator's just invisible, hanging out in his kitchen, just being like he's hiding from Key and Peele or whoever the fuck is in that movie, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger just going about his day. It's this little humorous moment of him like he's just fixing an egg. He drops the egg. We see him. He's like struggling to pick it up. My back. Like he's just this long extended scene in the middle of it, and Shane Black's sitting back like, excellent. This is what people paid money for.
Yeah.
The reviews are all like, it was very good except for the 30-minute sequence of Arnold Schwarzenegger going about daily life. That was very out of place. Okay, next up is some news on the Venom movie. It had been speculated before, not confirmed, but now for the first time, the Spider-Man Homecoming director has confirmed that Venom will not be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all. He said, it's not connected to the Marvel world, so that's really intriguing. Pause. What will that be? I don't know anything about it. It's not connected, so there's not that overlap. I'm only focused on my movie right now. Doesn't that sound like... What?
Yeah. Like, more like he doesn't know what's going to happen with it. Like, that deal hasn't been cemented, right? Because there's so much discussion going on right now with the future of Spider-Man being, like, in the MCU, and they're all like, he's not in the MCU. And then there's all of the discussion behind, Venom, and then there's more discussion about like what the future of the MCU is going to be, because the slated movies are slated, and then there's whatever comes afterwards.
And then we just know nothing.
Yeah.
So,
but those deals are also still in the works. Like, that's confirmed and for sure, is that they haven't made the signed contracts for the next round of the MCU. It's just stage 3 or whatever the fuck.
It'd be phase 4 at that point, I think. We're in phase 3 right now, right. I believe.
So phase 4 isn't arranged in any fashion whatsoever, so like those signing and those deals haven't happened. So asking a director whether or not their future movie that happens in the phase 4 of the MCU, whether it's going to be tied in or not.
No, but it's a totally pointless question to ask him. But for now, it's not, right?
No, and the movie itself can stand on its own in being just about Venom, which would be better, right? Because you do need a complete source for him.
But wouldn't it be weird though if so our next story is going to be about Spider-Man maybe not staying in the MCU, but wouldn't it be weird though if like Venom's origin is not connected at all. Spider-Man doesn't get shown at all. It's a whatever. And then like 2 sequels later, Venom is all of a sudden like, "Hey, buddy, I'm in your movie now." Like, because you're not in the MCU anymore, so I'm allowed to be in here because it's not any part of that anymore. Yeah. Hello, I'm Eddie Brock. It's still Topher Grace.
Oh.
That'd be the shocker of the world.
It's just that 70s show.
Yeah, we actually thought we'd go with Eric Foreman from that 70s show again, because he really nailed it the first time around. I think everybody really loved Venom in that film. I don't know who's directing the movie.
Sam Raimi.
No, like the new guy. I don't know why he sounds like this. It's fucking Woody Allen.
Woody Allen does Venom?
Yeah. That would be interesting. That'd be
like Eddie Brock, like covered in this suit, but just like walking around town having discussions about how he doesn't like bagels.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next story, like I said, was Spider-Man Homecoming producer Amy Pascal has explained that Peter Parker may not be hanging around the Marvel Cinematic Universe for all that long. It was something of a landmark deal when Sony and Marvel partnered, blah, blah, blah. That deal seems to have an end date, however. Speaking at the CinemaCon Theater Owners event last weekend, they explained, one of the things that I think is so amazing about this experience is that you don't have studios deciding to work together to make a film very often. In fact, it may never happen again after we do the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming. While Pascal's comments don't necessarily rule out the possibility of an extension to the deal, they do seem to confirm that Sony and Marvel's current deal ends after the second Spider-Man solo movie in 2019. The deal currently encompasses Homecoming, Avengers Infinity War, the Untitled follow-up, and then the Spidey solo sequel. Sony's clearly got some plans for an MCU-free future, working on 2 unconnected films from the Spider-Verse, Venom, and a Black Cat Silver Sable team-up. It will also release an animated film starring blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but again, it's the same thing. Everyone's making these assumptions that after the phase 4 or 3 or whatever the fuck finishes, that there won't be, that those deals aren't in place so that they're not signed in. But fucking 2019 is going to come along and they're going to be like, oh, Spider-Man is in the MCU, deal signed. Yes, because that's when they're going to sign it.
Yeah, but even, let's say this movie comes out and it does well enough or whatever. Like, maybe Marvel is just going to be like, you know what, this is a lot of our resources and we didn't see enough return from it for the deal we made, like, we're not going to let it, you guys can just have him again. Do you think they'd let that happen, or do you think they want Spider-Man 2 bad?
It could, so everyone's just hedging their bets. They'd have no clue on knowing whether or not Spider-Man Homecoming is going to be an amazing film. So you're right. There could be this financial, I don't know if us doing this together is going to be financially viable. So this movie is that test. Once it releases and if it does well, they'll definitely keep... They're not.
What if there was some, weird thing where, they kept going, and then, Marvel, the Cinematic Universe keeps going. Yeah. I can't imagine them just stopping it at this point, or rebooting, or anytime soon, right? Yeah. So it just keeps going, and at some point they just exclude Spider-Man out of it completely. He was once part of that world, but then they're like, no, you guys keep...
It would work.
It would be odd, right?
They're already laying the groundwork for that in the story, right? Of saying, Tony Stark is trying to, make sure that he doesn't get involved in all the craziness, and... he's like a protege, so later on he's just no, you're not part of the Avengers, you're not with us.
Yeah, but where he lives, he sees the Avengers Tower every day. In Spider-Man Homecoming 3, it's just gone. It's just out of the skyline. He has to pretend like he never... His suit, didn't you get that from Mr. Tony Stark? But they can't say it because they just bleep it out. Yeah. Didn't you get that from... And he's like, who is that? I've never heard that name before. It's just all this fucking...
They just keep switching over to him with his mask on. Even if he's just in street clothes, he just keeps putting the mask on so they don't have to overdo his mouth. Be like, so where did you get that suit? Normal face. And then be like, mask on. I got it nowhere. Mask on.
I made it because I am a genius.
Yeah. Are you Spider-Man? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just his origin is kind of tied now to Tony Stark and
hence why the
MCU.
Hence why there's no deal, so they're not going to be. It's not going to be involved in the future. I think it's just a crock, and they're
I guarantee Sony will be if that doesn't go through with another deal, they'll just be we'll get Andrew Garfield again. Just recast him. Doesn't bring it all back.
Well, I mean, they would do that if that was what happens, but they're I guarantee you this movie's going to be a financial success, and the company's making money. So too. And they're going to both be like, wow, this turned out great, right? So let's do it again. And they're just going to sign on their deal. They just haven't signed... We've gotten used to the world of MCU where actors and directors and everything like that are signing on for multi-movie deals and when I'm going to be the guy who runs this for all the future whatever, right?
We're the Russo brothers. We're in charge now.
Yeah. Or, Joss Whedon would have kept on going for almost every single Marvel film if he hadn't had his temper tantrum. We're getting used to that. And Chris Evans signed on for every movie that will ever exist that has Captain America in it. Yeah. Tony Stark, whatever the fuck his name is. Robert Downey Jr. Being really expensive, but fucking signed on to do Iron Man forever. I don't think Scarlett Johansson will ever stop doing Black Widow. We're used to that idea, so the idea of something being in flux like this is odd. But the thing is, it's different because
I think you're absolutely right. It'll probably just go through like normal.
Yeah.
But I think there's a potential for some weird splintering if things don't go right, and it would just be kind of oh, weird. Yeah. Wasn't that an odd thing when that happened?
Yeah.
All right, next up, you mentioned Joss Whedon.
I did.
Joss Whedon eyes Batgirl movie at Warner Brothers. It seems all but confirmed at this point.
It does seem all but confirmed.
It seems like Joss Whedon's going to be in charge of a Batgirl movie.
Which is fucking genius.
He jumped across the floating paradise isle that was Marvel, where he had his temper tantrum, and is into the fiery pit of DC. But he's got in charge of a property that, as soon as you hear it, you're like, of course that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, just on the whole prospect of the Batgirl side of things, this is extraordinarily good, because what does Joss Whedon write? He writes powerful female characters who are highly intelligent, quirky, and geeky.
Yep.
Right? That's Buffy, that's fucking Firefly characters, that's every single woman he's ever put in.
That's Batgirl. That's already Batgirl.
Yeah, he writes Batgirl already. Black Widow, he invented her as that kind of character. He's perfect for it. Plus, as a highly character-driven writer, this is where it kind of comes in really important, is that Batgirl her character is a huge driving point for her coolness. Right? Barbara Gordon as a character is really interesting. Just fucking great news. He's going to do a good job. And his whole transition over was based on the fact that, we all know he didn't like the creative control. Apparently the bathtub scene with Thor was a big deal to him.
Yeah.
But he wanted creative control. So they're giving him, and he took this little side thing that's going to have very little connection to the whole DCU. And, is going to be his little story where he's going to have creative control. So it's basically our Conjuring guy with Aquaman.
James Wan.
This is Joss Whedon doing the same thing. I'm going to take that backwater character where I'm going to have more control and less pressure and all this kind of stuff, and I'm going to write this amazing, like, powerful female character. So it's such good news. The interesting side point to all of this is that everyone still now always contributes to the success and the launch of the prime core of the MCU away from the starting movies, obviously. But like when the MCU like made it,
Avengers blew it up. Like
Avengers like launched it. They're like, hey, we need a movie to solidify this. What director could do that? Joss Whedon pulled it off like a god, right?
Yeah.
And he's done this before with thousands of other things inside of the comic book writing he's done and TV series, you name it, right? He's just that kind of guy where he goes in and he's like, hey, I'm Joss Whedon. I touched this and it's fucking gold. He could come in and save the DCU, because if he comes in and he makes Batgirl amazing, and then suddenly he gets involved into the connections to it, to Gotham City Sirens and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, he could save the DCU in the same way that he did with the Avengers.
Totally.
Yeah. So there's a potential here of bringing in the guy who could make DCU into the MCU. And
imagine just like 3 bad years of DC movies, and then all of a sudden he's like, here's perfectness. And it still exists inside this universe. Isn't that not crazy?
Yeah.
And then he just revamps everything. I just think
I think it's literally going to happen, and it's going to be amazing, and everyone's just going to go back and be like, who the fuck was in charge of the first half? It's going to be the story of the fucking first three Star Wars. Like, why did we let George Lucas go insane? You know? Like, where this is going to be just like, what the fuck is wrong with Zack Snyder? Never let him work again.
They said it was probably going to draw a lot from the New 52 Batgirl, which I really like. I have 2 of the paperback cover fucking things where they are.
Everyone wants the Killing Joke where she gets fucking like
no.
I'm like, no, just scratch that. Don't keep it
lighter and fun, like the new Batgirl. Like there's so much like fun stuff to be had with you know, Gordon being her father. She has to sneak out at night to go be Batgirl and vigilante, but during the day she's
and he gets that teenage angst thing so well with Buffy and all that. Like I think he can pull that off again really nicely. And that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, with the Killing Joke you could get in and you know, like that's really where her character shines. Before that, she didn't really have much, and it was about her overcoming her disability and becoming Oracle. That was really cool. I'm like,
I don't want her first movie to be her
where she gets disabled. Like, you know, I really want to see her be Batgirl.
That movie would have impact if they did a couple years of Batgirl movies that were great, and then she gets crippled in the third one.
Like if we're getting into like second or third, no, it'd have to be the third or fourth movie. Like I'd be like, hey, we should get into thinking about the Killing Joke.
Yeah, then
you know, but and maybe we have a good Joker cast at that point. Because I don't want to see fucking, not Heath Ledger, the other one, Jared Leto. Yeah, showing up.
Who knows if we're going to see him again. Yeah. He probably has like a bunch of paperwork that he's just like rolled up a joint with and smoked. Like, he just doesn't give a fuck at this point. Like, I can't imagine. I haven't seen any statements from him about it at all ever since someone taped him at that weird like, what was he even at? He looked like he was at like a fucking getaway camp, and he was just like, "Fuck DC." I was like, "What?" Also, I just want to say, it always annoys me when we were talking about the Joss Whedon temper tantrum thing. I always hear almost every director talking about their own movie about like, well, but it's a standalone movie. It connects to this larger universe, but really this is its own contained experience. They always fucking say that, and it's largely true. But like, guys, the whole conceit of the MCU is that it's embrace it a little more. Don't get pissed about like. Yeah, it was weird that Thor went off and had a bath in the middle of it and had a vision, but like it could be incorporated better than that. But like embrace the fact that these are all connected. Not for people who only see 1 or 2 there, they don't want to get confused about all this shit. But like them connecting is like the whole conceit of the thing. Like have fun with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like he did that with the others, and I'm not sure like why he didn't just go okay like you want to have Thor with his shirt off, fine, whatever, I'll give into that. And it's not like it's the biggest imposition in the world. And you want to have a connection, right? So let's figure out how to get Thor's shirt off and connect it in a different way than a bath scene.
Yeah, let's say he just goes into Hawkeye's bathroom and freaks out.
Yeah. Or like,
he's just getting really hot. He's like, my vision. That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Yeah. You could even just like fucking touch the Mind Stone or something at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been anything.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just, I'm so like tired of hearing directors say that shit. Like, I get it. Your movie can be viewed alone, but it also connects to this larger universe.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, so like
you can tell your own story. I understand.
Ant-Man's the same thing. They're like, Ant-Man 2 is not going to be connected at all. I'm like, yes, it is. He is an Avenger. Like, he's officially been indoctrinated to the whole fucking thing. Like, let's just get over that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're not going to start that movie and just be like, well, he just got out of jail. Like, how? He doesn't even have the suit.
He doesn't know who Tony Stark is.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Deadpool 2 director David Leitch reveals why Brad Pitt isn't playing Cable and Michael Shannon's involvement. Deadpool 2 finally seems to be coming together, but the highly anticipated sequel has yet to find an actor to play Cable. Michael Shannon, from The Man of Steel, who played Zod, is the rumored frontrunner, while some leaked concept art showed Brad Pitt as the character. Something we later learned was based specifically on the actor because he had screen tested alongside Ryan Reynolds. However, and when comicbook.com caught up with Deadpool 2 director, the filmmaker shed some light on why Pitt won't be starring in his first superhero movie. We had a great meeting with Brad, and he was incredibly interested in the property. Things didn't work out schedule-wise. He's a fan, and we love him, and I think he would have made an amazing Cable. So I guess he was there at some point.
Yeah. And I guess it also explains the concept art, and so that concept artist won't be fired.
yes.
But, I mean, I don't still, like, I want David Harbour as fucking Cable. Like, just go get him.
They're commenting on Michael Shannon now. He said, I think Michael Shannon, the name speaks for itself. He's an incredible actor.
Who is Michael Shannon?
He's the guy who played Zod in Man of Steel.
Oh.
He's also in, what's that fucking show about the 40s and Prohibition?
Yeah, I know.
He's in that too, and he's really good.
I don't know. That's another weird.
He's got the serious thing down, like the really stern. Like I get that part, but like
his face is like just not. I'm not getting it.
Yeah, it's not Cable-y enough for me.
You need to get someone that kind of gives you off a Wolverine gruffness. I don't. Let's ignore everyone going like he's not big enough. No one's as big as fucking Cable. Let's get over that one.
No,
no matter what miracles we pulled off with like Chris Pratt and the rest, we're not getting anyone that beefy. But let's get someone that gives off, like a grizzled army vet, like tough guy kind of feel.
Yeah.
Right? But also with a bit of a heart. Michael Shannon doesn't do that.
No, I don't get that from him.
He's very serious.
Yeah.
And it's like his look is serious, his acting is serious. Everything about him is very much like a man in charge of a general of a group and thing, which is a bit of Cable. I get the connection.
Yeah,
it doesn't fly.
That's the thing. I don't see it as like the perfect fit. It's not like it's like halfway there. Yeah. It's like the jigsaw piece just doesn't have like the one part.
I mean, I'm always going to cling David Harbour, but if it's not him, whatever. Just like let's find there's lots of options out there.
My mind always goes to Ron Perlman. He's too old at this point. But I wish if he was, if he's a little younger,
like Cable already,
and he just beefed up a bit, like he's totally like I would love him. I think
he'd be hilarious with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I could really see him doing well. Yeah. Like I wish Perlman was just like a couple years younger. He'd be so good. Who's the other guy? Oh, the guy from Don't Breathe, the blonde guy.
Oh, he'd be good.
Yeah, he wanted to be him. As soon as Deadpool 1 came out and the teased Cable.
Yeah, he had that picture of him working out.
I'm laying Cable when he's like working out and stuff, and like. He's still not big enough, technically. Like, even for, Cable standards, so. Whatever. We'll find out soon enough who's going to play Cable.
But he's had cum shot down his throat. He should do it. He's perfect for it.
Yeah.
You can take a total cum shot from Deadpool.
His portfolio reel is only that shot now.
Yeah, just, like, stuck right there.
They're like, what is this movie from? He's like, oh, it's where I played a blind guy who... Well, what I did was, he just had to explain the whole movie, and they're like, "Oh."
He just like cuts away and he comes back, and that's when she shoves the turkey baster.
The syringe of my own cum down my throat, while I'm hooked to the place where I had been keeping a woman that I was hoping to impregnate with my own sperm to become my new born baby. You see.
Get out.
We're not casting you in Pretty Woman 2. Get out. Next up, Michael Bay says there are 14 more Transformers films in development. Headline wrong, that's not actually what he said. But he did say something almost worse where he said, there are decades more of Transformers films.
Fucking fuck.
Okay, so Michael Bay reportedly...
People have to be going to see these movies, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah, they're making tons of money. Told the crowd that there are a lot more Transformers movies coming down the pipeline, despite his imminent departure from the director's chair. It seems that the writer's room assembled by Paramount didn't just work on The Last Knight or the upcoming Bumblebee spin-off, but it mapped out a route for the Transformers franchise to continue for decades to come. Yes, they're still making money. They have to be. They wouldn't keep making them.
I feel like someone is just paying the money and no one's actually going into the theater. Because have you ever spoken to any human being who has been in the theater for the other Transformers movies?
No.
Like, I don't know anyone.
I saw, 1
and 2, that's it.
Did I even see 2? Yeah, I think I saw 2. Yeah.
Or wait, did I see 3? Which was the one with the stupid 2 black smack-talking robot ones, and then they like hit the giant robot in the metal balls?
I honestly don't remember.
But that was...
I've heard about that, but I can't tell if I've seen it before.
Okay. That was bad. Yeah. Oh, fuck. It's like... That was a thing like, that happened in a movie. Like...
those Transformers movies, they're just not even like... They're not very entertaining to me, even though there's a lot of spectacle going on. And it's giant robots hitting giant robots, Mike. I love giant things hitting other giant things.
But these aren't even really robots. These are just meshes of metal that spin a lot.
Yeah, like
it's spinning metal.
Like it should be all right up my alley, but it's not. Like I don't know. I just have no. And it's not that I have no love for Transformers. I do have some love, but like they're just. They're just bothering me. Like yeah. Well, but there's got to be a shit ton of people liking them.
Well, I used to love the old Transformer stories. So I love the original movies with the whole original War for Cybertron, Unicron stuff. Like, the whole death of Optimus Prime was actually quite moving in those films. The stories based around it were really neat. And then I love the tie-in with Beast Wars and all that, with the CG one, right?
Yeah.
Like, the show was a little bit long run.
I fucking love, they call it Beasties in
Canada.
Because we couldn't have war in the title.
Beasties!
Beasties!
Yeah.
Why? Why couldn't we say war in the title?
But it went to Beast War when they did the one where they finally went back to Cybertron and they had that whole like organic versus technology arc, which was super cool.
Yeah, it was.
And it was really dark too. It was neat.
Yeah.
But like that was awesome. I loved all of that, you know. And then the whole build up was a culmination to that, to like merging the organic with the technology.
It was so much fun watching that show and just like they're like, oh, well, there's a new probe and it's in the Arctic land and like there's it's a Maximal and we need to go find him and he was like a white tiger and I was like. Shit, yes.
Yeah.
Although I think the bad guys always were cooler because they had like scorpions and tarantulas and shit.
Yeah, and they kept getting like little really lame things like the girl comes in, she's like, "I'm a hawk," and you're like, and you like when you come out as one of the Decepticons or whatever the fuck they were called in that predators,
Maximals and Predacons.
Yeah. And the Predacons come out and they're like, my gun is a cannon. She came out as a hawk and she's like, I shoot this little thing from the top of my hand that goes pew, pew, pew. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that was it.
Megatron's like, my face is a gun!
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Waspinator even was dope as fuck. He was like the joke character who got killed all the time, but like, still liked him a lot.
Yeah.
Waspinator! You know, the whole fucking stick.
And Scorponok.
Scorponok, yeah. I didn't like Scorponok as much when he transformed. I thought he looked a little stupid.
He looked stupid.
But I liked him when he was a scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
There was like satisfying click noises to his snippers. Yeah, I really like that. And I really like the whole like tarantulas thing. We're getting really off topic, but I don't give a fuck. I like the whole tarantulas thing too. When he was like rebelling against Megatron, he created his own like lair underground, and he brought Black Arachnia down there too, and they were like scheming and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really cool. He's the first one to turn them into transmetals, right? When they like evolved.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he had something to do with it. I think he was the first one.
No, someone turned transmetal. I think it was like Optimus Prime first, and then like he tried to figure out how to recreate it himself.
Was that just like the people who were making the show, Rainmaker in Vancouver? Was that just them being like, it's been on for like 3 years now, we can do better graphics than this? Okay, right into the story.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But the thing is, that's very normal for Transformers as well. It's always like, the next evolution. And Optimus Prime is like, now I can use the rest of my truck as a part of me, and then there's the armor that goes with me. Now I can like transform and merge with a Dinobot, and like that's Transformers.
It'd be cool if he was a truck gorilla.
Just like the dinosaurs in fucking Final Fantasy VII.
He's mostly a truck, but it's just galloping like a gorilla. There's no wheels. He's like. Megatron's just having like a pretty decent day. He's like, I'm gonna fuck over those pieces of shit pretty soon. Like, soon, but not now. Yeah. And just over the horizon, it's over a mountain. He's like, like there's just this giant truck beating its like furnace engine thing. He's like, oh god, what has happened?
Optimus, is that you? I'm in terrible pain.
Yeah, he can't speak anymore. I'm just honking.
Yeah.
It's when you pull the
yeah.
Rat Trap's trying to hold him back.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. And Cheetor was in there too. Yeah, that was a good show. That was much better than anything Michael Bay's done in the last couple of years.
Did Rat Trap make it into like the ladder, the Beast Wars on when they went back? Was he one of them? Because remember only 5 of them survived.
Yeah. No, he did. He's one of the first ones they had to keep.
Was he an actual rat when he went back?
Yeah, because then they had that other show after that where it was like different creators, but it was like. It's technically a continuity, and they were on like a different world. They might have been on
They were on Cybertron. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about that one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Rattrap wasn't that.
He was
like the main character, wasn't he?
No, it was Optimus Prime was the one who kept on like talking to the Allspark or whatever, the Oracle, and then Black Arachnia was one of them.
Yeah,
he was one of the organic ones, and she was obsessed with one of the bad guys who was actually the White Tiger, who was obsessed with him. And then I can't remember. Oh yeah, Cheetor was the other one.
Yeah,
who made it back? And you're right, maybe it was Rattrap.
I'm like 90% sure. I'm looking it up right now, so no one leaves this podcast confused. He was a Maximal. Beast Wars cartoon. Beast Machines cartoon. Yep, he's totally in it.
Yeah, and he was a rat, and he turned into a car. That's right, he was a car rat.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yep, and he had the wheels. He was awful.
I
remember I hated his design.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah,
and he was useless.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
What an awful thing.
That's why I remember like disliking Rattrap in that part.
I liked Rattrap in Beast Wars. I didn't like Cheetor. Cheetor always was kind of a dickhead to me.
I liked him in this, though, in the, whatever it was, the Beast Machines.
Beast Machines, yeah.
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 And then there was a pterodactyl, too. What the fuck?
Whatever happened to, oh, yeah. Yeah. Pterosaur was, he was kind of like Starscream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who the fuck? What happened to Dinobot? Also, his name was Dinobot.
No, he made it into Beast Machines.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Oh, God. Anyways. Oh, yeah, and fucking the rhinoceros.
Yeah.
Who was, like, always annoying. Oh.
I like that he had machine guns.
What was the Dinobots thing where he kept on, like, they couldn't figure out what to do with his tail, so then he took his tail off and then held it in his hands, and then it spun.
Yeah, it, like, clasped open, and there's, like, a spinning
but it never
sword
did
in there.
It never did anything.
No,
he never
it was terrible.
stabbed with it or, like, tried to saw anybody with it. He just kept on using his I-beams.
Oh, right, he had I-beams.
He just, like, spin the thing and stand there and be like, rah, bzz, with his eyes, and you're like, why did you have... Just throw the tail away.
Yeah. What a good show. What a fan. This was by the same makers as Reboot, so, yeah. They're just pumping out quality at that time.
It was really good.
That's awesome. Next up, Nickelodeon announces a new Invader Zim TV movie.
Woot.
There's really not too much to say about it, aside from the original series creator, Jonan Vasquez, is working on the movie, which will be roughly 90 minutes long. The story follows Zim as he attempts to once again take over the world by creating a new, Earth-destroying plan. Zim's also looking to finally impress his Urkin leaders, the almighty tallest. And along with this, we found out that Rocko's Modern Life, apparently, like, way back in August, which I'm shocked we didn't know about, is coming back as a movie as well.
And also, I mean, I don't care, but Arnold.
Yeah, I don't care about Arnold either.
But the Invader Zim movie is... I really hope that these movies are... Because Nickelodeon doesn't have the power it had back in the day.
No.
So they can't release new TV series. They can't afford it. So I think these are trials. They're going to be like, hey, how about these movies? Do these things come back? So everyone out there, and there's actually even a con for Invader Zim.
I know, I had no idea.
Yeah. Like, all of you, better, even if it's awful, go and watch this and support it. Just so we can get more to good stuff later and make sure this is the one you support. But, I mean, it's Jonan Vasquez. Apparently he's getting a lot of creative control and he's quite happy with, like, the whole turnout of the whole deal. Although, he's fucking weird. What the fuck?
Yeah, because Mike texted me and he's like, Invader Zim's a thing. And my first instinct was to go to the creator's Twitter, who I follow. And I was like, all right. And he goes, there's no Zim movie. It's fake news. And I was like, oh. And I'm like looking, it's like April 6th. And I'm like, it's not an April Fool's joke. Oh. And you're like, it was an actual thing. And I was like, press release. And I had to get linked to the real press release to finally be like, oh, okay. He's just fucking with everybody.
Yeah, like, god damn it.
I'm honestly pretty happy for him, though, because he posted a blog thing last year about how he'd gone through, like, 2 years worth of work trying to pitch this new cartoon he was working on. I don't know if it's to Nickelodeon. I'm not sure who it was to. But
I know what you're talking about.
He pitched it, and they got they got the rights to the cartoon. Like, they're like, okay, we'll buy the rights to it. We'll make a show. You have creative control. Blah blah. It was all going great. And then, like, before pre-production was about to start, they were like, we're not going to do it. Yeah. And they still owned the property. So he was just fucked. He was like, so I built this world for, like, 2 years of my life, and now it's just gone up in the ether. You just own this IP that, you know.
It's the story of my life. All my students are like, what games have you worked on? And I'm like, I can't tell you, because either they don't exist, but they're 4 big companies, and they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, I can't tell you, because they own it.
What you do is you just lean into the ear and whisper,
Half-Life 3. Yeah.
And they're like, their eyes widen as you retract, and you just give them a little wink.
And I'm like, well, I've done some like sight shooting before, and they're like, oh, where? And I'll be like, oh, I've been to Japan for it, and they're like, what would you be in Japan for? What studio would you have done that for Japan? And they're like trying to figure it out. I'm like, fuck, I'll never show this stuff. It'll never be in my portfolio. It'll never go out into the world. There's so many games that I've tossed my work out into that it'll never see the light of day, and it's gorgeous stuff. Gorgeous stuff. Like, I'm so proud of a few pieces that I've literally never shown anyone.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Show me.
No, I can't.
Show me after the podcast.
The one I have shown you was I did.
Don't worry, listeners. I will describe it in great deal on a secret podcast that I release. It'll just be me leaning into the mic, describing in vivid detail.
No,
there's a blue stroke here.
But like the one I showed you once was the one for that like Dick Tracy-esque Blade Runner black and white detective game. And like it's kind of like set in a futuristic 1950s style.
I can't tell if my brain's making something up or if I've actually seen this.
Yeah, and I showed you all the like the stills from it that were really cool.
I want to say I've seen. Yeah, I'm like 90% sure I know what you're talking about.
I showed you that one just because I don't like that company.
You have to show me again.
I was just like, screw it, you guys suck, so I don't really care about breaking your NDA. Plus, I don't think you can actually sue me. So, but yeah, that's the
podcast is going really well. We're talking about screwing NDAs. We just talked about Beast Wars for like 20 minutes.
This is the best episode ever.
It's rumor time. Is Jordan Peele in talks to direct Akira? Maybe. That's the news story. That is a news story. Yeah. Jordan Peele is hot off his horror masterpiece, Get Out. And I guess studios looking to scoop him up, seeing what a good director he turned out to be.
Get Out.
Yeah, Get Out.
Which was that? What's it?
You've heard of Get Out.
I've heard, but I can't remember.
Yeah. So the black dude.
Oh, was that good?
That was social commentary, yeah.
Was it actually good?
It's like this year's The Witch. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's like not scary. It's just like arty and then horror.
I have no idea. I'm staying clear of it until I can see it.
Oh.
I don't know much about it.
I thought it got like badly taken.
No.
Okay, all right.
Exact reverse opposite.
Oh, cool.
Like 100%.
No, I'm glad. I was really worried when I was like, oh, they put a black guy in the main character. Like, that's awesome. And then it turned out it was supposed to be for social commentary, which I was kind of like, oh, apparently probably is. But then I'm like, uh-oh, he's going to get like the whole... Like, why did you do this? Because
no, it's been like universally like very well received.
Oh, cool.
I've tried to see it like twice now on my own. It hasn't worked out. So Akira is a project they've been trying to get off the ground for years. And Ghost in the Shell just came out to a hearty $19 million. Yeah. You know what it got beat by at the box office? Boss Baby.
Yeah. With
Alec Baldwin as a baby. That movie, like...
And Alec Baldwin's probably sitting back just going like, ah.
Like, Look, Ghost in the Shell doesn't seem like it's good, but I don't want to say the animators didn't do work, but, like, Boss Baby just looks like such, like...
Shit.
Tripe. It's just like, come on, were you guys even trying that kind of thing? Like, I'm sure the animators worked hard and stuff, and I'm sure it's well animated, but, like... Well, yeah, it just looks so, like, creatively bankrupt to me.
No, but, so... The thing is we're always looking for the renaissance of the next genre. So comic books have become the first genre that's come. We talked about this before on other podcasts. We're looking for gaming or anime to become the next genre that gets to the, like two-film franchise thing, right? Yeah. And we've been trying with anime. Edge of Tomorrow worked, but no one knew that it was an anime, right? We need a large thing like the Avengers in... Well,
no, and Edge of Tomorrow, despite being very good, it didn't do very well, like, box office-wise.
Yeah. But still, I mean, like, you need a movie like that, right? And, like, we need a title that has, like, the Avengers kind of pull, where it's, like, big enough where everyone's like, oh, I get it. And everyone's always heard rumors of Ghost in the Shell and Akira. They're two of the great all-time classic anime films, right?
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell, unfortunately, while apparently it is stunning to look at, which is great, they got the visuals of Ghost in the Shell down, which was clear from the trailers.
Yes.
But... apparently the movie is just awful, and the most hardcore Ghost in the Shell fans have gone to see it are like, please don't go see this movie and just watch the original. The story is just awful.
Oh wow.
So like, and it depreciated so quickly because like the first rating it came out was like a 73, then it was like 60, 50, 40, 41, 39. Like it just dropped so quickly.
The thing is, I still want to see it.
I want to see it too.
I don't want to go to theaters to support it, I guess, at this point, but like, it's yeah.
But we're looking to get that, and the thing is with Jordan Peele in talks for Akira, like, it won't happen because people are going to back out. It's the gaming movie thing too. Like, there's lots of great gaming movies out there to be made from great stories, like The Last of Us. But those movies aren't coming to fruition because either the creators are probably sitting back going like, you're fucking up my shit, which, you know, that's what Neil Druckmann did, I hope, with Last of Us. At least that's my impression of what I got from the news from it. But, like, you know, Assassin's Creed flopped, fucking Prince of Persia, what a piece of shit. World of Warcraft, I don't know how you fucked that up, but there you go.
And look, I think Akira would suffer the same fate as Ghost in the Shell. I think it's too weird, too obscure. I don't think people are gonna go see it. I think, honestly, for animated break mainstream, you need to make, like, a good Dragon Ball Z movie. Or, like, Naruto. Something that was big here with, like, us as youth. You know what I mean?
So
like,
that was my question. It's like, what would you think is the mainstay? So inside of the Marvel universe, they took the most easily acceptable heroes and stuck them out first. There were other Avengers they could have gone with, but they went with the easy ones. They went with Iron Man, Captain America for the first two.
Yeah.
Hulk was even a hard sell, and then they found the magic to push a god of thunder in somehow, right? And we got the Avengers. So we need something anime that has that mass appeal. So you're right. I think they should go after a shonen anime.
Like, it's obviously not going to have a cool story like Ghost in the Shell or Akira, but, like, just a name that people can latch onto a little more than... Because, like, Akira and Ghost in the Shell, like, random people aren't going to know that. We know that, but, like, you know... But Dragon Ball Z, everyone was a fan of Dragon Ball Z when we were kids. Sailor Moon, everyone was a fan when we were kids, you know?
People keep jumping into trying to go in for the dark stuff, thinking like that's what's going to work. Like, everyone's like, oh, what about the Netflix Death Note movies, right? That's going to do it. I'm like, no, it's not. Because just like Edge of Tomorrow, it's too nichey and too weird in its context. And so anime takes stories that never get tackled in North American culture at all. Like the story of a kid who gets a book that causes people to die from a death god. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't exist in our story world. It only happens in the anime world where you get these fucking crazy things. I would like to see one of the really good shonens. And I think Dragon Ball Z is a little bit too fluffy to make into a really good cohesive film to give characterization behind each of them. Like, Goku doesn't have a character, you know? Like,
I'm really trying to defend Dragon Ball Z right now.
Yeah, but don't even try, because it won't work.
Vegeta has the character, really. Like, he's the one with character development.
No, but that's the thing. So, like, you can go that way. But, you know, like, you could even use a less popular one, but just use shonen as a thing. Now, Naruto, for the first beginning of that series, would totally work, but eventually it just gets too far gone.
Sure, but you only need to adapt and make successful the first one. Then you can kind of do your own thing with it. You know what I mean?
They'd have to massage the arcs into very particular films, and I think it could definitely work. My Hero Academia would actually be a really good one.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be excellent.
That'd be an excellent.
I think that'd be a really easy one for people who like really Hunger Games to like latch onto, right? As a kid's in a fucking school,
and it's got the superhero side, so it ties in, but it's Japanese, so it's going to have the shonen tropes, and then I think that would work really well. So yeah, I think the best option for all of these is to start tackling the mass appeals, which is like for anime to be shonen. For gaming though, that's the tricky one. And I'm curious to see what game is the one that has the best mass appeal. Yeah. Halo is the first one that comes to mind.
The things that everyone know aren't story things. I mean, Halo is probably actually a good one, or better than Mario. Like, you know, everyone knows Mario. Yeah. Mario ain't got a story to tell. No. You know, fucking Pac-Man. Pac-Man has no story to tell. No. Like, just things like that, you know.
Zelda, but...
Zelda's stories are never like...
No, it's just go kill Ganon.
Yeah. Like, I never really give a fuck about Zelda stories, to be honest. I like Majora's Mask, like the conceit of it, the 3 days thing. I think that's actually kind of cool, but I don't even know how it makes it work as a film.
No, and you'd have to have the attachment to the Zelda characters to make it interesting, so it doesn't work. You know, Last of Us is the only one that works as a film, but no one would understand it came from a game. They'd be like, oh, that's a game? Yeah. You know?
They'd be like, that's a great movie. Is that the Grey? Like, no, it's Last of Us.
Yeah. Like... So, I mean, gaming's going to be another whole tackle, and it's going to be one of those ones where we're going to figure it out. But World of Warcraft seemed like the most obvious choice.
It did, yeah.
They fucked up something that had, like, the encyclopedia of nerd was written by World of Warcraft, and they're like, nope. Fuck, anyways, that pisses me off so much.
Next up, actual clowns are not happy about the It trailer. This is a great headline. And it's even greater when you see that actual clowns had a comment for this.
Did they?
Yes. Mel magazine caught up with a few professional clowns, all of whom told the outlet that they're none too happy about the Pennywise resurgence on the horizon.
Okay, so before we get into this, just because this is ridiculous, apparently, did you even think that professional clown was still a thing?
Yeah, but...
Are they all pedophiles?
No, I mean, like, I figured there had to be professional clowns.
Who's going to sit back and be like, I really wish to be a professional clown?
There are there are legitimate circuses that have clowns, and I'm sure that there are some professional clowns in towns where there are birthdays.
You're not in Cirque du Soleil, like, what the fuck?
I mean, that should be your ultimate goal if you're a clown. Yes. Where else do you go? But, yeah. All right. So Mr. Nick Kane told the site, it's ruining our business. We just experienced a nice break from the scary clown meme last October, and just when things are starting to normalize, the It trailer comes and it's like, here we go again. Gulford Gilly Adams said, it's gonna be bad for clowns. It's a dying profession. And the people who do it and scrape together a living have to grapple with the fact that it's cool and hip not to like clowns. The ultimate prick is this It movie, and it's going to turn young consumers away from an art form that's sweet and nice and not about the Kardashians and Minecraft. Wow. What a weird fucking...
Wow, well, these clowns apparently are like 50.
Yeah.
It's got to take these kids back, get them away from their fucking phones.
They're Kardashians in Minecraft. That's a total... Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. Okay, look. But I have grown up since 1989. Clowns have never not had the creepy connotation to them to me.
Yeah, but
I've rarely
as
seen...
a note, you can literally Google this and find it. There are news articles you can find, clippings of people taking pictures of the reaction from clowns when Stephen King's It books came out and everyone started freaking out that clowns were scary. And then it happened again when the TV series came out, or movie, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, TV series, movie, whatever it was.
And they all freaked out again that clowns got scary. Like, It is one of the defining reasons as to why clowns are scary. And...
Sure, but even, paintings, like, there's been paintings for a long time of, like, sad clowns, and it's like, well, the juxtaposition of this man who's to bring you humor, but he's a sad person inside, shit like that. Like, clowns are just, they're fucking clowns. They're always, clowns. Like, they're always...
Yeah, but the term is to be a clown, to be a goof.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Also, the way this guy phrases this, it's cool and hip to not like clowns. Look, no one's going around at, like, schools and being like, yo, bitch, you down with the clowns? And they was like, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, you're a bitch then. There, everybody, this guy, he's like, he doesn't like clowns. It's that doesn't happen. It makes it sound like when my mom was, like, convinced that Tim Hortons was, like, a cool place for people to hang out. She's like, oh, everyone thinks they're so cool going to Tim Hortons at lunch. I'm like, no, they're just getting food. They're for cheap. Nobody thinks that they're really cool for going to Tim Hortons. No. That's not, like, the hot spot.
No, we had Wendy's near my high school, and we all hung out in front of it, and everyone's like, oh, the kids hang out at Wendy's, like, it's the cool place to go, and I'm like...
It's not the cool place to go.
It's literally 5 minutes from school, so I can get back between breaks.
Yeah, it's the only place we can go.
And there's benches out front, so you could smoke while you ate. That was it.
I'm writing my fucking MySpace profile, and I'm like, interests, not liking clowns. That'll get me fucked. Get my dick sucked for that one. It's so fucking cool and hip not to like clowns. Honk honk! Alright, fucking idiot professional clowns. What a dumb thing to say. Alright, next up. G.I. Joe. Hasbro seeks to reboot the movie franchise with a millennial approach. What does this mean?
I have no
What does this mean?
Does it mean that all the G.I. Joes are going to be on their phone?
Do they all have a sense of entitlement? Yeah. Hasbro is looking once again to partner with Paramount Pictures for a G.I. Joe movie, only this time the company is looking to take a more millennial approach, quote-unquote. That's according to Hasbro's Simon Waters, who said, the world has changed, and I think you're going to see G.I. Joe changing with it. Oh, of course, it's the most contemporary franchise we have. Yeah. There's going to be a much more contemporary approach to the whole franchise that allows us to develop different characters.
How is it not currently contemporary? They literally just set it in the future, and we're like, hey, like, super robot people. And fucking...
They're looking to broaden the franchise's appeal, much like it's been able to do with the Transformers movies. We hope to create a head snap. It's a different kind of G.I. Joe, one that still resonates with Joe fans, but brings in an uninitiated audience and expands the audience internationally and domestically. Hasbro's ultimate goal is to utilize its properties to create a cinematic universe that would potentially include ROM, Micronauts, Visionaries, and Mask, in addition to G.I. Joe and Transformers.
So basically they're just like, we like toys. Make movies about toys.
Yes, that's basically.
But how is that approaching the more millennial generation? Like, we got to make the '90s toys cool to the millennials. Is that just your goal?
Yeah. Is it just you want to appeal to millennials? Do you not mean that you actually want to make it millennial?
Yeah. Like, all we remember are the toys from the '90s or the '80s, really. But
it's just The Rock drinking at Starbucks, writing his script on a Mac. Just like, ooh, this is the wrong name. He's all this fucking...
It doesn't say The Rock on it. It's just like, it's Brock. He's like, fuck.
It says Mineral. He's like, fuck! Alright. That's a dumb story. Next up, Legend of Zelda producer suggests that the series will be open world from now on.
To Cal and I, that's like, but apparently to everyone else in the world.
No, that's like the best news other Zelda fans could hear.
Yeah.
Eiji Aonuma has suggested The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's open structure will become the basis for the series design going forward. In an interview with Famitsu, the Zelda series producer was asked whether the franchise would retain the, quote, open-air concept used in Breath of the Wild, or if it would return to its traditional gated dungeon progression. From now on, this will probably be the standard form. However, eventually, that in itself could be seen as Zelda as usual, and we would start to hear opinions this way and that way. This has always been the case, and the result of what we have made is Zelda. Okay.
I am Japanese.
Anuma's point is that the dungeon progression itself was once considered a new idea, but it became seen as the expected style over time, which makes the latest game feel new by comparison. That's the thing. It is new for Zelda, but it's not new for games. It's not Zelda pushing the format, I don't think. It's Zelda doing what everyone else is doing.
It was pushing Zelda.
Yeah, it's only pushing Zelda because Zelda was the same thing for so long. Mm-hmm. Again, I think I've played a little more Breath of the Wild. Like I was telling Mike in private, they're like, in private, I mean, just off air. I brought you in.
Because everything we say off air eventually makes it on air, so I'm like, there's not really anything private in our lives anymore.
Just fucking bring him into a room, and I'm like, look, Zelda is okay. I get why people like it a little more now. I understand. It's a lot about it. To me, from what I understand, it's a lot about all these little things that occur in the world that make it feel like, oh, there's this little bit of polish here and there and that, and like this is all like neat. But if I just told you about one of the things, you'd be like, so? Like, so what? Like, it's, it's one of those things. Yeah, so how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about that going forward? I kind of without him saying that, I kind of just figured that would be the case, but...
I figured it was going to be the case, but I was really hoping that maybe they would refine themselves down a little bit. Like, Breath of the Wild, it gets me with its openness and being, like, way too away from some of the standards I really do like. Like, 138 dungeons instead of having, like, a water temple and a fire temple and all that kind of stuff. Like, I liked that. I was looking forward to being like, how are they going to torment me with another water temple? Because they always were torment each and every game they were in. I kind of like, there's a couple of tropes that I want them to go back to. Like, I don't want 138 temples, and they're probably not all that different. So, no, don't make it like that. However, like maybe the open world exploration side, because like Ocarina of Time would be considered like in its time an open world game.
That's the thing. Zelda's always been like open, just not as big as Breath of the Wild.
Hell, even A Link to the Past is a giant open world.
Totally.
Yeah, like you can go anywhere inside of there, but they did block you off in that one a bit more. But nevertheless, but like. It
felt free. It didn't feel like linear. It wasn't Persona.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn, actually. Like Horizon Zero Dawn is an open world, but it basically was a big U-turn on the map and then to the end, right? Like you could go where you wanted to, but there was still a cohesive direction for it. And I really am losing a lot of interest in open world games in general that just give you way too much freedom. Mass Effect Andromeda is suffering from not giving me enough of a rigid line to follow inside of its story.
I wonder if part of your... I know you're enjoying Mass Effect, but I wonder if you would almost enjoy it more if you hadn't played Horizon before this.
Oh, I would enjoy it way more.
Not just the fact that it's a better game, but the fact that it was also a big open world, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's literally basically the same game except for just shooting with bow and arrow, shooting with guns.
Yeah.
And one is just superbly done, and one is just okay. Mm-hmm. And for Mass Effect to be just okay makes it bad,
yeah.
Like, because Mass Effect can't just be okay. But we're putting it under a very harsh light, and as I've been playing more of it unlocks. I've been enjoying it more. But you're right, I'm criticizing it so tough because right now I'm playing Mass Effect, and every time I open up anything, everyone's like, "Look at this beautiful Horizon, and Horizon's amazing," and I'm like, "Fuck, that's what it looks like when they do it real good."
Yeah.
BioWare, you could have done that. You really could have.
Why didn't you make this weird algorithmic engine that makes everything
pretty? They were 20% off from getting it. That's the frustrating part. Like, you can see it. You're just like, oh, you've almost got it. It looks great, and you didn't quite get there.
Playing Persona, it being so linear, is like kind of cathartic for me. I'm like, yeah, just tap X to continue. This is great. Like, it's almost like
I'm looking forward to it.
It's funneling me down this like story-driven experience where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is just happening, and I'm enjoying it. Like, it's nice.
I'm looking forward to that.
All right, next up, Warner Brothers working on a new game. Is it a Harry Potter RPG? I don't know what the validity of this story is because it was kind of hard to find. So take this one with a grain of salt. The developer behind Disney Infinity is hiring for a new RPG, and fans think it might be Harry Potter related. The cancellation of Disney Infinity and Disney's exit from the console games business was a great shame on a number of fronts, not least of which was because the developer Avalanche Software was suddenly put out of work. Luckily, Warner Brothers stepped in to buy them out, and now we have the first clues as to what they're working on. Fans noticed this job ad for a senior games writer that needs to have a deep understanding of gaming narrative and branching storytelling, particularly in the realm of RPGs. This implies that the role-playing game, blah, 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 of course, it says it in the... What story is this? We're looking for a talented storyteller with a deep understanding of British culture and grammatical presentation. Okay.
Just because it's British doesn't mean Harry Potter.
It seems like a very specific demand to be... I mean, it's more than it's got so far. It seems like a very specific demand to be making for a developer based in Salt Lake City, and the list of franchises that could cause an American publisher to care about British grammar is pretty short, and Harry Potter has got to be the number one candidate. That's not a random guess either, because Warner owns rights to making Harry Potter games, and despite almost all their other titles being based on film properties, it's the only major license they haven't made any use of lately. So, I mean, that's pretty good sleuthing, I guess.
It's slim tie-ins, and also just because everyone, when you go, have you been to Britain? I like Harry Potter. Like, like fuck this. That's not the only thing they do.
I mean, as far as things Warner Brothers owns, though, and that's the only, like, you know, fucking British thing, like, that's an alright guess. I can see where it's coming from.
I can see where it's coming from. As for, I mean, I'm sure that's important to someone. I don't really care about going out and, you know, using my Expelliarmus curse, so...
Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium. I'm surprised Harry Potter has had games before, but they've all been garbage. Yeah. As far as I know, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but like...
There were a couple of interesting ones.
It would be nice for a Harry Potter fan to get like a fully fledged, like, here's a nerd, like, Witcher 3 version of this, not version of this world, but like in depth, and you can go read about all the fucking hippogriffs and
what I would love for them to be able to do with that is that, like, so in Harry Potter, the coolest part about Harry Potter to everyone who's ever watched the films, if you're not a huge fan or not, is the wizard dueling in it. Like, the idea of how they cast magic and they actually were, like, fighting each other with magic. It was a whole new thing, even in film, like, watching them whip their wands around and, like, giving it a quick flick to knock someone up and all that. It was really cool, especially in a couple of the films. I loved seeing that because magic's never really tackled very well in films. It's always usually just, like, someone sitting there and then lightning bolts.
Yeah.
It was neat to see this very interesting incorporation of magic in a combat system, right? And to turn that into a game where you could actually have magical combat, because games today, if there's magic, take Mass Effect or anything, they're usually like, okay, so you have a gun and periodically on cooldown you have a magic attack.
Yeah.
It would be neat to get mystical characters using magic fighting each other in a system, in a game. I would think, like, if they made a really cool, interesting, never seen before magic combat system for the wizard duels and all that stuff in the game, they would be able to take a franchise over all 9 titles very easily. And I'd be excited to see that happen because hopefully it would push the genre a bit. But other than that, like, I mean, I love Harry Potter. I read all the books from cover to cover when I was younger, all the way up. I enjoyed a lot of the movies. I don't know. There's certain stories where you get so engrossed into, like, I've been in that story so much with the films, with the books and all that. I don't have a need to go back and revisit them. Mm-hmm. It's just been so much Harry Potter.
What if it's just like Wizard World and you can create your own wizard and you're in Dumble?
Yes, if you want to set it inside of like the Potterverse or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Yes.
It's not necessarily your Harry, but you're your own.
But to literally have to redo like the Philosopher's Stone, no.
Yeah, I understand that for sure. I never got into Harry Potter, and like I literally had the book read to me in grade third grade. The teacher read it to us in the story time section of the class or whatever, and like I never got into it. I don't know why. I feel like I missed this like incredibly popular thing that I didn't even realize was becoming popular as it did. Like I just had no fucking idea. Like with The Matrix, I'm willingly like ignorant of it, where like I didn't see the movie, I didn't go see it, I was aware of it. Harry Potter was this thing that just kind of like whoosh, right over my head. Heard the entire first book, don't remember a fucking thing about it. I just know it got read to me. I remember all of Tuck Everlasting, with that weird Immortals family or whatever the fuck it is.
Why would you remember that one?
That one got read to me like a grade later, and I remember all of it. Yeah. I remember all of that story. That's Harry Potter, he lived in a basement, and there's like also a troll that lives in the basement with him, and it gets beaten. It's like a house elf.
The house elf is later. That's not the first book.
No, I don't know. Whatever. I just know that about Harry Potter.
And he's not in the basement. He's underneath the stairs.
Whatever. He's kept away.
Yes.
He's tucked away. And there's a house elf, and he gets beaten, and that's kind of funny. And Salacious Crumb is the thing that's on the side of Jabba the Hutt. All right, moving on.
It does sound like a Harry Potter villain.
Salacious Crumb, don't stare into my eyes, or whatever you can't do with Voldemort. Hardware maker Mad Catz dies.
Oh.
It's finally happened. Mad Catz has gone out of business. This should have happened in 1998, but it never did. Mad Catz is notorious for making the controllers you never wanted to use at your friend's house. Fuck, man, do you remember all those just... Because they could, I feel for people. I feel for them because like you can't replicate the thing that's copyrighted, which is the regular ass good feeling controllers. But they always made these weird, chunky, clunky, fucking turbo button, and you can and you're like, oh god, what the hell is this? Like, just awful shit. Although recently they became big in the fighting scene because all of a sudden they started making good fighting sticks. Yeah, like they became the people to go to. Oddly enough, so
the thing
seems like they just got good, and now they're like.
The thing about them was that they were supposed to be making controllers, but they were supposed to make them cheaper because the controllers bought from the store were always really expensive. Yep. And as kids, when we go out and we were still stuck in the days of all of us clamoring around a console, and some of them even had 4 ports after a while. Going out and buying 4 controllers was really hard. Yes. And not everyone had a controller to bring over or something. And even then, bringing controllers over and forgetting them at people's houses was such a I fucking hated that shit.
Story time. I am 26 years old now. Am I 27? How old am I?
27.
Am I? I'm 20-something. And last Christmas I was home and I went drinking with my friends at their place. Had a good old time. We played Mario Party. I brought over my Mario Party game, and I brought over some controllers. He already had an N64 there. I think he had 2, so I brought 2 controllers in the game. Drank, had a good time. I was leaving the next day to come back home to Ottawa. My mom says, did you bring the controllers back? Bitch, how'd you even know that I brought controllers? B, no, I didn't. There's at Nathan's place. It's fine. I see him every time I come home. You go get them before you leave. Why? Why do I have to? She made me go get them, and I just had to give in. I just gave in. I had to go. Like, my flight was at 12, so I had to go there at 9 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Brought them coffee, apologized for waking them up and be like, can I get my controllers back? I'm an adult man, yes. And my mother is sending me to my friend's house to get my controllers back. What did she think they were going to do with them? Turn them into a fucking bong and start doing hits out of them?
I'm sure someone's turned an N64 controller into a bong.
Oh, for sure. But, come on. I've known these people my whole life. It's not, you don't need to be concerned. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I brought my N64 to a rave last night. Yeah.
And I just swung it around my head.
Woo! My mother is convinced that, it's going to be worth a lot of money someday, but, they're so beaten up and used that, no one's going to buy those.
No. But for me, the controller stories, I remember I used to bring controllers to my friend's place, and I remember I just got... All my friends had the systems before me. A 64 system, or it was PlayStation. So they had the 64s, they got the PlayStations, and I just got mine that Christmas. It had been 2 years with them with having theirs, and I just got mine finally. We brought the controllers over to play a 4-player game together finally. First day of having it, bring the controllers over, play with them. Then I was going to go home, and I knew I had Final Fantasy VII at home, and I was I went over as late as possible, 9 o'clock, went and hung out with them, just passed out early. It was fuck it, and I went home at noon. Everyone's like, where the fuck are you going, dude? We got a whole weekend. And I'm like, no, I gotta go if mom and dad wants the homework things, right? And I left, forgot the controller.
No!
Yeah. And I went home, and there's a machine with no controller, no way to use it all. Yeah. And there were my friends I ditched, clearly ran home and said, I can't come back. And they're like, no, dude, ditch it. You gotta hang out, and we're gonna do all this shit. And then I'm 3 hours into I'm gonna call them and find out that, of course, they're out partying. Yeah. And I'm debating, do I ask his parents if I can come over and get the controller? And I'm like, fuck. So I had to wait the whole fucking weekend.
Oh, that sucks, man. Yeah. What a terrible thing.
That whole weekend, I blew off partying and getting drunk with my friends to go play Final Fantasy, and instead I spent
to keep up the lie, you had to just do nothing.
Up the lie, I had to sit at home and I watched, Star Trek with my dad for an entire weekend alone.
Well, we just both told stories that reveal how truly pathetic we both are. Last story is kind of maybe a feel-good story. Who knows?
I'm excited about this one.
Takashi Takita, the director of Chrono Trigger, Parasite Eve, Final Fantasy IV, Live a Live, Final Fantasy Legends, and of course the greatest of all time, Chocobo Racing.
All great games.
Is teasing something. He's teasing something. It translates to top secret mission begins on his tweet. Someone says it seems pretty clear he's working on a Switch game. Don't know if that's the case.
Oh, fuck, I hope not.
But everyone's hoping this is the new beginning for the Chrono series.
Fucking please. So, here's my little impassioned plea to hopefully any listener out there, since apparently we've got a very large listener base now, thank you everyone, that one of you works at Square Enix. If one of you works at Square Enix, listen to one of your many fans. Kyle is also a fan, even though he doesn't... Did you play Chrono Trigger?
Yes.
Okay. Did you like it?
Yes.
Okay. We have been asking Square Enix back when you were Squaresoft, to please bring back some of your franchises. We know you're not going to do Parasite Eve. No. We know you're not going to bring back, well, I know Kami's not there, so it was another company. Sorry. Yeah. We know you're not going to bring back Final Fantasy Tactics anytime soon.
No.
You know.
Unfortunately.
But if there was anything that has more cult fervor than your Final Fantasy series, is Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And Chrono Cross was not placating enough. Please let this man, or encourage this man, to make another Chrono series game. Because we want it so bad, and I think we've been asking now for 30 years.
Yeah, probably about that.
About 30 years.
No, it came in 1995, so 20-something years.
20,
yeah.
Did it come in 95?
Yeah, so it's 2005, 2015, and then we're 3 years.
Okay, so it's 20-something years.
23 years, probably.
23 years. So, just do it. Just do it.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
If this man is working on a secret project, and you go talk to him, and he's like, no, I'm working on, Chocobo air racing, you burn that, and you kidnap him, and you bring him to your studio, and you strap him to a chair, and you tell him to make this game, or you're going to hook him up to your Square Enix servers and suck it out of his brain. And that's it. That's all he can do. Please.
And with that plea, we end this week's Pens and Pixels podcast, episode 71.
71.
I hope you enjoyed what you heard. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at the CalG. Mike is at Mike Kent Draws, and Pens and Pixels is across all social medias. Pick your poison.
Mm-hmm. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe on all of our social media, and of course, like, share, and subscribe on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. You can check this podcast out on YouTube. Some of the content we talked about needs visuals, and if you don't want to hear us talk about a picture, you can check it out there. We're also going to have some special content coming out on that channel very soon as well, so be sure to check it out. Drop us a rating, give us a comment, let us know what you think. If you have something you want us to cover, we love hearing from you guys, so be sure to drop us a line.
Hashtag Chrono Break or Chrono Break him.
I think just hashtag Chrono Break him.
Oh yeah, that's it.